Hello, everybody. We are finally here. So we are Holtby Six. Who are we? What are we? Why are we here? And when are we going to be doing stuff? So I'm going to go through a kind of bulk of information about what Holtby Six is, why I set it up, where we intend to take it. We've got Jason on board today with us as well to talk about our kind of face, our presentation, how we look image-wise, the kits that we've kind of created. Jason, you okay, mate?
Yeah, I'm all good, thanks. How's it going? All good?
Yeah, good, mate. Thank you. Yeah, lovely to have you with us, mate. Jason will talk a little bit about the kits, the design, kind of his input from that graphical side, which is not my area of expertise. We'll talk a little bit about the sponsorship, who's on board with this podcast, the charities that we've chosen to represent and kind of build that fundamental underneath Holtby Six. And also I'll do a little bit of a teaser with some special guests that are lined up over the coming months, how often those podcasts will be on, etc., etc. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm hoping a lot of you do, but for those of you who don't, my name's Aaron. I've been on Twitter a long time now, particularly within the Villa community. And I guess I've always been the kind of guy that people have come to regarding mental health. Checking in with Aaron, give Aaron a shout. He'll be able to give you some advice, etc., etc. And I've always been very willing to be involved in that. Mental health is a very, very close subject to my heart. I've had my own mental health experiences and still struggle with demons day to day now. I work professionally in the mental health remit. And I guess Holtby Six is a way of me giving back to the Villa community with something a little bit more official, something a little bit more solid, something that has a name, something that's got a presence, something that's got a click here to go to sort of place, rather than just hoping that something will be out there for people who are struggling. So I wanted to create a platform within the Villa community that represented good well-being, a place to talk, a place to create conversation around mental health, place to talk about suicide, place to talk about financial difficulties, struggles at home, isolation, loneliness, etc., etc. The list goes on. And I know that within the football community, mental health is still very much a taboo subject. It's not spoken enough about, particularly around men. I know men have struggled for many centuries to talk about their mental health, and females too. You see more and more females coming out talking about their mental health. And I think it's just a really positive way to try and spread some love, spread some awareness, and give people some top tips and guidance on how to look after themselves better. So that's who Holtby Six is. That's what Holtby Six intends to do. Why have I done it? I guess for the reasons I've just mentioned, really, but also because I don't feel that there is anything out there, particularly in the Villa community currently, that does that. A lot of podcasts touch on mental health now and again. I've done a few podcasts in the past with the Villa View, Dan Bardell and the boys over there, and touched on mental health, but nothing regular and consistent regarding mental health discussion and conversation. So that's kind of why I want to do it. And I often get DMs, I often get messages from lads saying, I'm really struggling, Aaron, what do I do? I'm thinking of doing this. I keep thinking about this, and I don't know what to do. I've got no answers. I've got no solutions, etc. And some of the conversations are really deep sometimes. And I'm hopeful that Holtby Six can just be a way of kind of answering some of those questions and giving people some hope and some positivity to try and get through these things on their own. So what will Holtby Six do? It will deliver podcasts on a fortnightly basis. That's the plan. That's the intention. So we will have special guests on board. So I've spoken to quite a lot of quite high profile people, current podcasts that are doing really well within the Villa community, people from different backgrounds, some ex-pros, some current pros, some members of staff that work in the football industry, some coaches, some referees, etc. So really to get a broad overview and reflective kind of account from all departments within the football industry and that football kind of community. Also some fan base accounts, some fan base leaders, some volunteer groups within the Villa base, etc. So bringing it back to Aston Villa as often as we can. That's the purpose. We want to stay with the Villa, but also just trying to make that kind of main conversation in these podcasts about mental health and well-being. Yeah, that's kind of Holtby Six. The logo, the name, I will give over to Jason in a moment, but just quickly with the name Holtby Six. So I've kind of coined the Holt end. A big thing at Villa Park. The Holt end is always a place and a memory that a lot of us hold deep in our hearts. And I guess I've just used that Holt end for Holtby, and with the B6, that's the postcode at Villa Park. So B6 in Birmingham is the postcode of Villa Park. So I kind of coined those two things together to create this name. So Holtby Six means nothing really to anybody. It's just a nice coin and relative kind of connection for Villa Park. And our stadium, really, and our home. And I guess a lot of what we'll talk about over the coming months in this podcast is about remembering what you've got at home, remembering your home, your family, your support, because actually they're the people that will help you the most, and they're the people that want to help you the most. And for a lot of people, Aston Villa is that. Aston Villa is that connection. It's that safe place. It's that place of security. And I guess that's the relative thing here with Holtby Six. So I'll hand over to Jace now to talk about some of the design work and some of the kits that we've got in place. You'll have seen on social media we did a home and away and an alternate kit. And some of the sponsors on there. So Jace, take it away, mate. Why have we done what we've done?
Well, I think initially you contacted me through. So basically, my background is graphic design. So I've been doing graphic design for too long now, 14, 15 years. So professional wise. So I initially started doing a lot of my kit designs through lockdown. So I went through the whole furlough process, and it was almost a way of me keeping on top of what I do on a day-to-day, but also doing stuff I love. So I've got my own personal design page, but I also created a Villa specific page, which focused initially on kit design, but I ended up working on different fixture day design as well. And then Aaron contacted me through that page. So we talked quite a bit about where we wanted to go with Holtby Six and what the idea was. And personally, for me, I thought it was great. I think it gives a real visual side of the mental health in charity side as well. So it's something completely different. And like what Aaron was saying, within the football community, it's still quite rare to talk through these things. So I think if people can relate through visual and design, which I've tried to do through this. So you'll see the 3 kit concepts that have come out so far are connected to Villa. With the colours that we use and on their own, and the charities can use them as a separate thing as well. The badge itself, it's a bit of an iconic Villa round badge from the 80s, 90s. It's something that I've personally loved for a long time. So it has that connection, but it's a badge of a message. So you've got the heart, you've got the brain. It's all connected when it comes to mental health. You're never alone. It's all got a big connection and a message, which we hope will start to bring in a lot more talk about where we want to go with this charity. And then I think eventually we're going to start making it like a proper football club as such, but a virtual football club. So we'll do fixtures, we'll do posters. I think it's something that could progress into something a lot bigger than where it is at the moment.
Yeah, lovely. Cheers, Jace. Yeah, thank you, mate. And I guess that's perfect. That's exactly what the kits are for. That's exactly what the image is for. That's why we've got Jason in to do those really kind of technical drawings, etc., to make sure that it has a good presence, that the image is clear and it's consistent and it's transparent and far better than any quality I could ever do. So really appreciate having you on board, mate. The sponsors on the kits. So the big one for the start, I guess, to mention is Luke Roper. I've been supported by Luke Roper personally with my mental health work that I've done over the last 3 or 4 years, for a number of years now. And they were very keen to kind of come on board with this. It's a message and a vision and an concept that Luke Roper are very keen on spreading and raising awareness of. And a lot of what you see on the Luke Roper page, you will see is very mental health based. They do a lot of wellness stuff, and that's really positive stuff. So they've agreed to kind of be our digital sponsor in regards to the kits, and also to kind of support and endorse the podcast. We will have Luke Roper on the podcast at some point in the coming months. And that's really positive for us. A lovely brand, a really family, villa-orientated brand who are massively encouraging and supportive of what we're doing at Holtby Six. So Loot Rover is kind of the kit concept, podcast concept, endorsement support. And then we've got our 3 charities. Now, these 3 charities were chosen by myself because they're 3 charities that I've either worked with, supported, or been supported by in my kind of mental health journey. So the first one is Papyrus, and that's on our home kit. Papyrus is a suicide prevention charity, which has done incredible things. And if I could put it in one sentence, saved my life at one point in my life. A real charity that means the world to me, and I wouldn't be half the man I am without them today. So Papyrus was always the first one for me, and so that's on our home kit. You know, where it's all built, the foundation, where it starts. The away kit has Young Minds on it, which, as a lot of you will know, is the mental health charity that supports young people and children in the UK, and actually across Europe, actually, at some point. So Young Minds is on our away kit, and again, another amazing charity, does incredible work, supports parents who are struggling with young people and children who are going through difficulties as well. So a charity for me that had to be on the kit somewhere. So that's the away kit. And then the Movember is on our alternate kit. So Movember is a men's mental health charity, which looks at breaking down the stigma, breaking down the taboo around talking about stuff when you're a man and you're struggling and having weaknesses and trying to be the top guy all the time and never showing your vulnerabilities, etc. And Movember do a hell of a lot of work. It's the moustache logo. They do a lot of work across the world, you know, multi-million-pound turning over charity. And I guess supporting these charities isn't always about giving them money and fundraising for them. It's about giving them a presence, giving them a platform to be involved in something like this. And I've spoken to all 3 of them, and they're all very happy to be on board. So again, moving forward, hopefully we'll have representatives from each of those charities coming on board the podcast to kind of talk us a little bit more about their work and their services and what they're going to do and where you can go to get help from them. So that's our kind of sponsors. And I guess lastly to talk about, this isn't going to be a long one, like I say, it's a kind of introduction podcast before we really get into the nitty and gritty in the next one. The next one is kind of a little teaser on special guests. So we will have some podcast groups from across the Villa platform coming on board. Many of them that you will know and probably listen to currently. They'll be coming on to talk about their own mental health experiences and really using their journeys and their platforms as a way to spread that positivity. Some ex-pros and some current pros. Ex-pros is much easier to do than the current pros, as they're always under very high restrictions, but we're doing our best. But we will have a really nice lineup of kind of people that have played the game at the highest level. Some not so high, but a lot of them will have played at a really good standard, been involved in that kind of professional remit as a career. You know, that kind of changing room, training, day-to-day club life kind of atmosphere. And we'll see where we go with that in regards to conversations that come up about mental health. I expect from the older ex-pros, it will be a very different outlook on mental health as it was to be for a new kind of modern day footballer, as things have dramatically changed with mental health since that kind of 20, 30-year span. There'll be some charities coming on board. There'll be some fan base coming on board. There'll be some equality and diversity people coming on board. So we're looking to get Villa Proud on, Villa Bella's on, Her Game Too. So, you know, we're going for a real kind of dramatic, broad spectrum of people coming on board and getting involved in the podcast and with Holtby Six. So very exciting times ahead. I'm really looking forward to kind of really getting this ball rolling. Obviously, this is the start of it. I hope that the information that you've received in the last 20 minutes has been helpful. I always think that sometimes it's great to see posts on social media and stuff, but it's actually nice to hear someone talk and put a face to a name and stuff. So Jason will be dipping in from time to time over the coming months as well. So kind of as my kind of wingman co-host, if you like. I'll keep Jason involved as often as possible because he's been a massive part of where we are today with all the work behind the scenes. So yeah, do follow us. Do give us a like, do share our content, do click on our links, watch the podcast, watch the videos, watch the content. We'll be doing a hell of a lot more moving forward. This episode is our first, and I intend to do many, many more moving forward. So thank you very much all for your time. And remember, if you need to speak to someone and you can't, always feel like you can message Holtby Six, and we will point you in the right direction, whether that's a little bit of a conversation with me or Jace or someone, but also point you in the right direction to get that more clinical help if and when you need it. Jason, thank you for your time, my man. Really appreciate it. And everybody listening, we will see you very, very soon. Up the Villa.